Hey, what's up guys, this is MacGuffinSC and I'm bringing you some StarCraft 2 ladder action. This game was sent in to me, so let's introduce the players. In the top, in the red, we have CyberThug, and in the bottom we have the blue Zerg Huxman, the man who sent it in himself. Now, they're spawning on Nerazim Crypt. They've sort of got close positions. The Zerg will be able to expand away from the Protoss, which is good for the Zerg in this situation. And I'm quite familiar with Huxman's style. He usually plays a macro-ish game with some interesting drop tactics, so this should be a good game. Now, I don't know anything about CyberThug, but from this probe it looks, yep, he's putting down a pylon, which looks like we're having another Forge Fast expand. Very common from the Protoss around this level. This is a master level game. Nine Overlord going out, it looks like. Huxman producing drones. No spawning pool yet, and he isn't saving up money, so I think he will be going for that quick expansion, or maybe a late 15-ish pool. The Protoss should be throwing down a forge soon enough, and he may be throwing down a pylon to harass or cannon the expansion. So let's see. Looks like that probe anticipated that this was going out to start an expansion, but it didn't, and the spawning pool went down in first, which was a 15 spawning pool, and the drone is heading straight to CyberThug's base. The drone has seen the pool, I believe. Yes, he has. And he is waiting there. He's going to wait to the last possible moment to try and stop that expansion, and this will be interesting. We're going to see a Nexus first. Nexus before Forge. That is very bold, especially with the spawning pool half done. See a little bit of drone harassment going on here. Probe versus drone, the ultimate struggle, and the forge is going down. Got another probe coming down here, I think a bit prematurely, probably not necessary. Only really need one probe, and it looks like he's realized that and sending them back. But ooh, what do we have here? A proxy hatch inside the Protoss' base. This is interesting. I'm wondering if he's going to get a Roach Warren, because the Zergling reinforcements from the proxy hatch really aren't that strong. You probably want to use your units on drones instead, and he is throwing down a pylon, so we'll be able to cannon this before the spine coils or any production comes in. And yes, we do have a Roach Warren. And he is skipping the cannon entirely, thinking that all the aggression is going to come from this one expansion. The probe is waiting here diligently for that expansion to come down. So it should be interesting to see how the Protoss reacts. He did throw that out in that one cannon just in case. He's not getting too overly confident. This could be a distraction while he sends in lings from the front or something. Not really producing any lings. He is up to 18 drones versus 18 probes. The Roach Warren has completed, and oh, he's pulled 9 probes to deal with this. I think this is a mistake actually. I think in this case it would have been better to let it finish and have this cannon take it out. The cannon could take out any real threats, and then Huxman would have been down 300 minerals, but he did cancel it and he is replacing it. So I think this is going to be a distraction for most of the game. There is one Roach coming out, 2 Roach already on the field, and they are heading to the front. It looks like he's trying to harass. If you can get the right angle, you can hit these without the cannon hitting, if the cannon placement isn't very good. The Protoss player is getting down another cannon. Doesn't want to take any chances. From his point of view, the Zerg has not expanded, so he is up a base. And here come those Roaches. Is he going to find a sweet spot? And we have a Zealot out harassing this hatchery. The advantage of this hatchery is that it delays the Protoss a bit. And when he cancels this, which I assume he will... Oh, interesting, another forge. Are we going to get double ups really early? That should be interesting. Anyway, as I was saying, you can use this, the drone that comes out of this, to scout the Protoss space and check for any Stargate or maybe a Twilight Council, but we don't seem to have a Cybernetics core up. I'm wondering maybe if this was a mistake and it was meant to be a Cybernetics core. We'll have to see if he utilizes it or not, and he's throwing down that expansion again, just to harass. Just to keep him occupied. And oh, here we finally have an expansion for Huxman, and we do have a pylon here. That must be why he chose it. Now this is going to be interesting to think. The Protoss may be confident, not knowing there is expansion here, and thinking he is ahead and will continue to go up. Huxman has found a sweet spot to attack those gateways, and looks like he's going in a bit. There is an Artosis pylon here, although we have another pylon coming up here, and looks like he is going for that pylon, although he's going to take some heavy cannon fire. He's microing his roaches nicely, although he's going to lose them. His photon cannon's having 3 roach kills between them. Now, is he going to cancel this in time? It can be easy to forget about these sort of things. Even with high levels, you've got a lot going when you feel behind. The Protoss has 2 bases up. He's at 31 probes versus 22 drones, which isn't good for the Zerg. I don't quite agree with this tactic by Huxman. I think he should have gone for a more macro-heavy play. And he isn't killing this pylon. Though he may be trying something new, it's always good to experiment on the ladder. And I'm wondering if he just forgot about this, or is he not getting it because he wants the Protoss to think that he doesn't have another base. And we have another drone going out, which I suggest would be, yes, another hatchery going up. So he's going to try and macro now. So this is interesting, and he's taking out these rocks, being very active with his roaches, not just sitting them at home. But I wonder if this probe's going to do anything sneaky. He could potentially start throwing up some war pins or some cannons here. And, ooh, what do we have for the Protoss? A Stargate. And another gateway. And we haven't seen any upgrades yet, so I think this forge was a mistake, unless he used building it to replace the one that he knew was going to go down from his roaches. He did take out those rocks, but it is still blocked off and he's in too much cannon range, so it looks like this gateway is going to be fine. And warp gates haven't even started yet, so this Protoss, I'm not sure about him. And oh, the roaches run in. Without any warp gates, he won't be able to warp in any reinforcements. These roaches will be able to do a lot of damage. They take out that zealot, and he is going straight for the probe line and trying to set up some cannons, but it's not going to happen. And I gotta say, the Protoss is probably going to lose all of his probes to this blunder. And oh, he's moving them out. He's chrono boosting out that void ray. He wants to stop it. Will these roaches kill this nexus? If he does, he basically resets the game, and that'll mean the Zerg will be up by a large margin, I imagine. And what do we have here? The probe's got stuck. He's completely walled in. These probes are completely useless. Oh my god. With that pylon taken down though, he can put his probes back to work. Unfortunately, oh, yeah, he's oversaturated by quite a lot here. You can always box your workers like this, and you usually want 3 bars. So he's oversaturated by about 8 workers there. The void ray is out, which means the threat will be taken out quite quickly. However, he did get the nexus, so very good move by Huxman, and he is getting another Stargate. So double Stargate. This may be because he just simply forgot the warp gates, or maybe he just doesn't like warp gates. But again, this Protoss, he's doing a unique strategy. Warp gates is 50 minerals, 50 gas. He's got 200 minerals, 500 gas he's not spending, and it looks like he's realized his blunder, and he is now chrono boosting that warp gate. He does have 2 void rays on the field though, so he could try and come back with this. Huxman being very proactive by getting the evolution chamber and lots of spore crawlers. 2 for this base, oh, 3 for this base. None for this base, and none for this base yet. However, the void rays are going straight for this base. Does he know about this base? No, he does not, but he must suspect. He knows there's no base here, so there has to be a base here. A lot of drone saturation on this base. Huxman at 50 drones versus 44 probes. And the void rays are in action. And, ooh, bit of a blunder by Huxman. He doesn't have any protection except for this 1 queen, and he could lose. Oh, Hydralisk! Good timing, and he's got 2 spore crawlers coming out. I must have been mistaken there. I didn't see that Hydra Den go up. Where is he hiding it? Oh, very clever. It's hidden from even me. Under overlords. Very well done. Now these Hydralisks are going to be... Oh, he pulls some queens. He could have spread his creep a bit better. That would have helped him to reinforce it. And these Hydralisks are getting stuck behind his queens. But the void rays are leaving. And this is where the Protoss is going to try and make a move. He's got this gap he can go over. And when he sees this creep... Oh, what... Amazing! He doesn't see the creep. Oh, he does a little bit. But he turned it just the wrong angle. He might not have noticed it. There's this tiny bit of purple. Oh, it hardly shows up on the minimap. He's going for this Overlord instead when there was this completely undefended dispatch. He's just getting these spore crawlers now. That was so lucky for our Zerg player. The Zerg player is about 30 supply up. And the warp gates have finally finished for the Protoss, and he has re-established his primary nexus. He is getting a Robo Bay, a couple of gateways. So I think he's going to try and go into Colossus tech. He's one. That 2-base Colossus Void Ray was very popular back in the day. It hasn't been seeing as much use, but it's coming back a bit with the diminishing infestors. Now, Huxman still hasn't gotten this, and I think this is a bit of a mistake. He should really take out this pylon. The Protoss could have gone into, you know, a Dark Templar tech or something. I mean, Huxman does have a lot of detection. With those Dark Templars, they could sneak in, they could get a few kills, and it could put the Protoss back to where he needs to be. The Zerg getting supply blocked, these Void Rays must have picked off some overlords, which has put Huxman into the red. He's rebuilt his overlords now. He is getting the Glial Reconstitution Roach movement, and the missile attacks 1, plus 10 roaches, and he's starting to spread his creep a bit. And with Hydralisk, you really want to have some sort of transport for them, either Overlord drops, Nidus Worms, or creep. Off creep, they're just no good, really. Except for defense, and even then, they can be outnumbered by Phoenixes, which kill them quite quickly. And we have the Robotic Support Bay coming up. And that will allow the Colossus to be produced, and the Protoss is doing quite well given the situation that he was in. He's building almost no gateway units comparatively to what he would have had, just 8 Stalkers, and it's 15 minutes into the game. The Zerg is ahead by about 40 supply, and he's finally taken out that pylon. Looks like he's getting a few more drones, and we have the pneumaticized carapace coming up, which is the Overlord speed, as well as the Groove Spines, which is the ranged for Hydralisks. So with fast Overlords we could see some dramatic creep spread, or possibly he could get the Ventral Sacs, which would allow him to move his Hydralisks around, and that could abuse the mobility. He's not going to, the Protoss wouldn't be able to take out this third. Now, normally I'd imagine Huxman would have an Overlord in this third, but of course those Void Rays did take them out. Extended Thermal Lances on the way, as well as more Colossus, and we have no Observer so far. So Huxman could utilize some Burrowed Roach play, except he hasn't got Burrow yet, and he doesn't know that the Protoss doesn't have the Observer. You always assume they have at least an Observer, but sometimes they don't. They skip out on these things. A lot of people try and refine their builds by cutting things out instead of adding them on, and here we have an aggressive attack. I think he's seen those Colossus now. There's one. Oh, no, he hasn't actually. The Protoss being channeled into there, there's no force fields, and that Colossus is a bit out of position, but those Phoenixes will be able to defend it from anything. If the Protoss player micros this, oh, he's not microing it, he's going to lose it to just Hydralisk. That's a terrible blunder for the Protoss. He is getting the Graviton Beam. This Hydralisk, like I said, Hydralisk can be beaten by Phoenixes, even though they're supposed to counter Phoenixes. Things aren't as they say in the game information. You can beat units with units they're not supposed to. That was a great victory for the Protoss, except he's still 40 supply down. The Zerg has free reign to 4 bases, he can't move out without feeling like not very safe. He doesn't know that the Zerg can't really attack at the moment. He is getting a lot more roaches, and he is getting the level 2 attack. We've got some more Zerglings coming in, and I don't know what he's going to do with these Zerglings, because they're just not going to be very effective if he gets any more Colossus. We have 2 in production. But what we have here is a Baneling nest. That'll be interesting to see how the Banelings can connect to the Colossus. Remember, we did already have the Overlord speed, but not the Ventral Sacs. So you could be going for some Baneling drops, which are always fun to see. 30 Zerglings coming in again. So wow, that's a lot of Zerglings. Zerg player up to 155 supply versus 115 for the Protoss. And the Protoss is going for a sneaky expansion, and I don't believe Huxman has scouted these yet. It's so hard to get your Overlords back into position after they've been taken out. It does. Oh, Ventral Sats have just been researched, so we are going to see some drop play. This is just what I've been wanting to see. It's a very different style to the style I play. I usually play a heavier macro game with a lot of roaches and just brute force my opponent. And that can be very effective versus forward fast expand. It's almost a free win if you do it right. It's a great style to watch. It's fun, it's effective, and it compensates for that loss of Infestors. With the Infestors nerf of 2 range on Neuroparasite, they're just not being built as much, and of course they always had Fungal Growth, which gave the Zerg that much needed AoE, but those Banelings can replace it. We do also have a Spire coming out. Looks like some unsaturated gases here that could be done, and probably being a bit distracted by these Phoenix harass. Now this Protoss has taken this expansion, but he's already put a pylon down here because he wants to wall it off. He doesn't want to be counter-attacked by Lings. And he's transferring probes because he's almost mined out his main and almost mined out his natural. And that was a result of being on 2 bases for too long, and also for being oversaturated in this base for too long after he lost his Nexus at the beginning. So we have the Phoenix going in, trying to scout what they can, try and pick up those overlords. Unfortunately, Huxman hasn't produced any more Hydralisks, and he hasn't got any infestors, so he can't really deal with these Phoenixes unless they hit his spore crawlers. So it's going to be interesting. Is he just going to ignore them? And we already have Banelings congregating underneath these overlords, and the Ventral Sax is just completed, and already we're seeing them loaded up. This is going to be interesting to watch. If he can snipe those overlords, if he knows what's coming, he might just think they're there to provide creep. Protoss has walled in again, and he's splitting the map. He wants that map. The Zerg is at 66 drones versus 65 probes, so it's fairly even on that. We've got 8 Corruptors coming in to deal with those Colossus and also those Phoenixes. Of course, the Corruptors are armored, and they don't take extra damage from the Phoenix's attack like Mutalisks do, which is 5 extra damage. So they are great for dealing with the Phoenixes and also the Colossus. In fact, if I was Huxman at this and I was in this situation, I'd target down the Colossus first and then go for the Phoenix. But I mean, he's got 5 overlords with thing, and oh, he's found his army, and let's see what he does. Looks like both parties playing it safe for a minute. Huxman extending his creep a bit. Could have been a bit better. The creep could have been a bit further out. Of course, the Protoss player still doesn't have a observer, I believe. And here we go. Here comes the engagement. Roach is going in. Colossus in the back. The overlords are going in. Are they going to drop on the Colossus? Baneling drops going in. He's not attacking the Colossus, and that's great AoE damage. It takes out the Colossus down to half HP. It takes a lot of thing. The supplies are even though. And here come the Corruptors. If he can, these Colossus are already weakened. Most of their shields are gone, and there's no more Stalker. Well, there's a couple left, but they're not going to be enough to kill these Corruptors quickly. And he's target firing the Void Rays. He wants to kill the Void Rays, so he'll have free range to destroy all these Colossus. He is pulling back, dancing back and forth a bit, and he's decided to get out of there. Unfortunately, we're going to lose these Overlords. The Zerg army does retreat. 6 Corruptors still alive. Looks like we still had some corruption on that. Yes, he has been using corruption. Good utilization of that unused spell from the Zerg. And we have level 1 melee attack coming in, and that does increase the Baneling damage. And it's actually quite significant. And oh, no wall in here, so it's free probe kills. And that's not what the Protoss wants. He's starting to sort of catch up. And he is going for that. And oh, we have the Zealot here, but he's not going to get past these walls. And there's a massive blunder. There's a hole in the gap. That Zealot, he's 1 day away from retirement. No! And he's dead. He had a family, kids. They're not going to be able to pay him now. Such a sad story for these renegade Zerglings. And now he's got free reign to get in here. The Colossus is coming to defend. But I mean, he's got such a wide span. He could be counterattacking right now. If he has any, yes, he does. He has enough to counterattack. He could go back and forth. He could keep Zerglings out here, run them in, run them back into the space, and just abuse that mobility of these Colossus. Because they're not that fast compared to Roaches would be on creep with no observer to take out the creep tumors. The Zerg is quickly approaching max. He's at 192 supply, and we have more Overlords being filled up with Banelings. Is he going to use them on the army, or is he going to go for the probes? That'll be interesting to see. Now, in the meantime, we have the Protoss producing exclusively Void Rays and Colossus. Oh, and we have the Adrenal Glands coming from the Zerg. That does increase the Zergling damage by about 20%, I believe. It's quite good, but it's actually better to get the melee attacks first over it. So we have quite good upgrades on the melee, on the ranged attack. But the Zerg is starting to build up some minerals, so he could probably get a bit more evolution chambers and upgrade that, and also you could get that into a greater spire. Although maybe he doesn't want to build it because he's afraid of the Void Rays taking out the Broodlords. But in the meantime, we have a hidden dark shrine going up somewhere, and oh, it's here. But chance, this Overlord is coming straight over it. Is Huxman going to notice? Is he going to click on that that dark shrine? He might just think it's a pylon, and Baneling drops going down. Not that many probes. It was good move by CyberThug. He did move his probes out. And we have both of the armies just loitering in the middle of the map, both taking a watchtower. And it looks like the Zerg is retreating a bit. I don't know what these queens are doing. It may have been a misclick on the quick queen eject trick that sometimes happens. If you've got more hatcheries than you've got queens, you will lose a queen or two. So I think that's what happened. Did you do see all the queens that he had? Yep, that's what happened. See how this, when that trick malfunctions, you get the queens going all over the map. It's a bit of, and oh, we lost 2 Banelings in that overlord from a failed drop. Looks like the overlords were searching, but they didn't find what they're looking for. And oh, what is this? We have Greater Spire going up, melee attack level 2, and a fleet beacon. So we are going to see some carriers or mothership action. And oh, what do we have here? DT's going out. Will these DTs be able to do any damage? There's so many spore crawlers already on the map just because he was afraid of that word ray harass, and he has 1 spine crawler here, and this DT I don't think will do any damage. These ones might. He's going straight for the mineral line. Oh, we're taking the queen. That's a bit of a mistake. You want to go for the drones first. The DTs will actually automatically target the queen because it's got the higher threat level. So sometimes you have to manually target them, but we've got good kills coming out from here. Protoss at 30 kills over the duration of the game and climbing. We have an extra queen going here. Might be trying to transfuse this hatchery, I wouldn't be surprised. But oh, too late. We have the roaches coming in. And I don't think we've got any overseers on the map, but what do we have here? 15 broodlords morphing in. The Protoss still only has 5 void rays, so these broodlords will be able to do a massive amount of damage before they're taken out. And we have another 12 corruptors to deal with that air, and we also have Zerg Flyer attack level 2, and the melee attack almost finished. I think this is the broodlord switch. It was the reason that he stopped upgrading ranged and started upgrading melee attack. It increases banelings, and we have 1 lone DT. It increases banelings and broodling hits, and that plays together very nicely. We have the Protoss weapon levels level 3 coming out. Bit of a long, silly game, and it looks like the Protoss learned from a mistake here, and he has extra pylons. The supplies are still quite even, but oh, what's going to happen here? Oh, if these corruptors take out all the void rays, then it's going to be over for the Protoss. Roach is taking out Colossus. Stalker's trying to get under those broodlords, but it's just too much. They're trying to blink away, but I don't think there's any escape for them. No one leaves alive. Still have 8 corruptors left over, and we're getting 3 additional Stargates. The Protoss, and oh, after that DT harass, the Zerg is down to 17 drones, and he doesn't seem to be producing any more. It's a bit of a blunder for the Zerg, but he is such in a commanding lead by 60 supply that I don't see there's any way he can lose this game. Bit of a nail in the coffin at this point, but it should be good to see the game play out, to see what the Protoss can do with the mothership. We have an additional 2 Void Rays coming out. I don't know about the weapons level 3. It's nice for his stalkers, but he's really into air at the moment, of course. With that many corruptors that Huxman can produce, if he reduces his drone count. And oh, more harass coming down. 50, 57, 58, 59, and 60 drone kills. Each one of these Dark Templar has over 25 kills, but it's just too little too late. Zerg is pushing in here. The Protoss is getting Archons, morphing from his Dark Templar, and the Protoss is chrony boosting out Void Rays. He needs those Void Rays to take care of these Broodlords, but with these Corruptors sitting up here, the Protoss just doesn't have much chance. I mean, he's only down 20 supply, but this is a very powerful Zerg army. The only thing that can make it a bit better would be some Infestors, but you can't complain when you're doing this well. It might be a bit hard for the Zerg to reproduce this army though, because of the damage the Protoss has done. So he can't really lose this army. This is his death army. The Protoss is starting to get up on minerals with the destruction of this base. He hasn't got the production spell to send it, so he's floating over 1400 minerals. Looks like the Zerg has retreated. He doesn't want to fight in here, I believe. I think he wants to take it in the open. Those Archons have level 3 now. And unfortunately no ranged air attack. I think he's realised that he doesn't have much money left over. He only has a couple drones on gas and no mining bases. He has established this new hatchery. And oh, the mothership's out of position and it goes down. Protoss Hope died in that mothership. He could have done some arcane toilet action. Archons, but oh, he's getting another mothership. Looks like he's producing it from this nexus. But I don't think that there's... I mean, the Protoss is fighting well, but it's just not happening. Just doesn't have enough production, but because he's lost a lot of gateways. The Broodlords are just shelling his army, and they got to get... As soon as they get close, the Roaches will go in and finish them off. And look at those Archons dying. Those Broodlings have +3 attack, and GG, well played from CyberThug. This was a bit of an interesting game. I know Huxman quite well actually, and he streams quite often, so I will include a link to his stream in the link below, and thanks for watching guys. Peace out.